What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of 90 Day Fiancé Before the 90 Days, Season 7, Episode 5, Brave New World. Let's talk about Faith and Lauren. And real quick, let's have a quick conversation about Lauren. So I've been hearing a lot that the reason why Lauren wants to live in the Philippines is because he is running away from his child support obligation in the United States. So he has an ex-wife or an ex-girlfriend, and he was ordered to pay support for their children. I think it's two kids. And because he doesn't want to pay and he doesn't want to face the consequences for not paying, he has fled to the Philippines. And this is the reason why he's trying to stay there permanently instead of bringing Faith back with him to the United States. So once again, this is showing us more of Lauren's character, which there's nothing redeemable about this guy since I started watching him on television. The way he treats Faith, the way he is with himself, and now knowing that he's got kids and he doesn't want to financially support and he's running away from his obligation, his court ordered obligation. Forget about the morality of it. He is court ordered to do this and he's trying to run away from that. I see nothing redeeming about Lauren. And also the fact that I heavily suspect, as do a bunch of other people, that he's only on this show for clout. He's not really trying to have a real relationship with Faith. And that's the reason why, their storyline is so wackadoodle like the way it is, which we're going to get into now. And Faith seems so sweet. I don't know how genuine Faith is. I don't know if she's part of this fake storyline with Lauren or if she's a true victim of Lauren's, crazy ways. I don't know, but Faith comes across as being very sweet, very down to earth, really likable person. So I don't understand how what she sees in Lauren, especially after he told her that he doesn't have a home in the United States and he can't afford to do much of anything. He comes to the Philippines with $46 in his pocket and she still wants to be with him, but that all may change. So in this episode, Lauren just revealed to us, well, not in this episode, but in the previous one, Lauren had just revealed to us that someone that he was messing around with because he's been cheating on Faith, someone that he's been messing around with before he left for the Philippines had given him gonorrhea. So he believes that he does have it. He hasn't got an official diagnosis because he hasn't been to the doctor in the Philippines, but he does believe that he has it because he shows symptoms of it. So he says that to him, gonorrhea is like having food poisoning. Which to me, that is so wacky and so bizarre that this is how he thinks. This is how he rationalizes what's going on. He's because to him he's like, it's no big deal. I'm going to get a shot from the doctor and everything is going to be better. Um it's not permanent like other type of STDs. It's not going to kill him. So he's like, it's no big deal. It's just like having food poisoning. So him and Faith have planned to go spend the day at the lake. So they go to the lake. It's very beautiful scenery. He hasn't told her yet at this point. He has not told her yet. And they get into the lake and they're swimming and they're having a really good time. And it's like very romantic for them. And Faith tells us that she loves being in the water because she feels very feminine. She feels very free when she's swimming in the water. She feels like a true mermaid. So after they have this really romantic moment, because he tells her all kinds of things, he compliments her on her beauty. He tells her that it's been a dream of his to always be with a lady boy. So Faith is exactly what he's looking for. So he's making her feel, all warm and fuzzy inside. So they get out of the lake. And he decides to let her know that he's got gonorrhea. So he tells her, even though she wasn't looking for a kiss or seeking a kiss, he tells her, we can't kiss because I have gonorrhea. And of course, she was completely blindsided by this information. And obviously, he got it while he was in this long distance relationship with her. And so she was like, so you've been with other people? And he's like, yeah. And he had been telling her that he has been sleeping at other people's houses because he doesn't have a home of his own. So he's been crashing at other people's houses. And he says that, he just assumed that she would assume that he was, also having relations with these people. Like when he's like saying, oh, I'm sleeping with Samantha. Um, that's him telling her that me and Samantha are having relations, we're being intimate, we're having sex. And Faith would take it is like in the literal sense, like me and Samantha are in a bed and we are falling asleep together, in the same bed or in the same room or in the same house. She wasn't taking it as far as to think that, that they were, doing the damn thing. So he's trying to blame it on, oh, but you should have known because I told you that I was sleeping with these other people and all this other stuff. No, Lauren, quit. Stop being an F boy, Lauren. For once, be a true man. Stop being an F boy. He was banking on the miscommunication and the fact that something was lost in translation or whatever. He was banking on that, and he was going to twist it around and use it to his advantage, to completely gaslight her and confuse her. You knew what you were doing. You knew that your words were very misleading. You knew that she was not thinking, and you did not want her to think at the time that you were literally having sex with these other people, that you were sleeping, that you were, crashing at their house or whatever the hell was going on over there. You knew that that's not what you wanted her to think at the time that you were telling her. Now that you've come up with gonorrhea and you have to let her know, now you're going to blame it on her. Like, well, why did you misunderstand me? I thought I made it perfectly clear what I was doing. Stop the crap. Stop the bull crap, Lauren, please. So obviously, Faith is really hurt, and she accuses him of cheating on her. And he's like, no, it's not really cheating because me and you had not physically met. We were still in a long distance relationship and we had not, actually met in person. So it's not cheating. Once again, the F boy language, the F boy excuses. And so I'm glad that Faith stood her ground. And she was like, no, that's exactly what it is. It's you cheating on me, because she's under the impression, and she's led to believe from you and how you were acting and what you were telling her that y'all were in a serious boyfriend girlfriend committed relationship. Even though it was long distance, even though y'all had not met, that was her understanding. And she came to this conclusion because of all the things that you said and all the things that you did to make her get to that conclusion. So now you're trying to do the old switcheroo on her and be like, well, I thought you knew what it was. No, Lauren, please. So she's like, no, it's cheating. So she tells us that, she had really trusted him, and that even though he was telling her that he was spending the night at these other girls' houses, she really still had trust in him, that nothing was going on when he was with these other girls. And she talks about how she feels totally betrayed and disrespected, and she feels like she doesn't even know who he is anymore. So she says to us in her confessional that this really hurt her because trans women and trans girls are not taken very seriously. Men tend to just use and abuse them. And so she thought that she found a real one in Lauren, coming to find out that he didn't take their relationship seriously at all. So she's kind of like back to square one, where she feels, misled. She feels lied to. She feels like he's just using her for whatever. So, yeah, it made her feel really ugly and disgusting inside that he had to reveal to her that he had been sleeping with other people this whole entire time. So they go back to arguing about, so they're on their way back to the hotel, and they're in the taxi or the Uber, and they're driving back to the hotel. And, she tells him, you having gonorrhea is like very, very serious. In my country, if people know about this, you're kind of like shunned. It's a very embarrassing thing to have an STD. And it's like, it's devastating. And he's kind of like, why? Why is it such a big deal? I'm just going to get a shot from the doctor, and, the doctor's going to make it all better. Everything's going to be all hunky dory. It's not a big deal. Because remember, Lauren thinks that having gonorrhea is very similar to just having food poisoning. So he doesn't understand why she's making it such a big deal. And she's like, it is a big deal to me that, you're out there just slinging and banging and not giving a damn about using protection. And you're exposing yourself to so many other types of STDs that are a lot worse than gonorrhea. And you seem to not care. You're very nonchalant about it. He's just like, I don't know. I don't know why you're making a big deal about this. They get to the hotel, and I guess he thought that they were going to have a conversation. And she's like, yeah, no, I'm going to pass on that. I'm going to need time to myself. I have to, think about things and what I'm trying to do. And, I need time to process all of this. And so she quickly goes back to her room and they have no conversation about it. So I hope that Faith is connecting all the dots and putting together all of the things that Lauren has been doing that are, huge, gigantic, humongous red flags, and that she leaves this man alone because he's got a lot of problems. I don't know if Faith knows about his alleged child support issues in the United States, but whatever she knows so far, the things that she knows about him so far, the fact that he basically misled her into believing that they would go live in the United States, but then tells her no, he wants to live in the Philippines. He's broke. He doesn't have much going on with him. I hope she's connecting all the dots and that she's going to be leaving this person alone very, very soon. Let's move on to Chitty and Renee. So after telling Renee that he, has this vow of celibacy, Renee all of a sudden is like very distant with him. They're not as close as they once were. And so they're going for a walk and he's trying to reconnect with her and she's still kind of like very standoffish with him. And so he starts to profess his love to her, telling her all these things about how he feels about her, et cetera, et cetera. And Renee tells him that, it's more than just about sex. I wanted to be physically close with you. Like, I want to be, cuddled up with you. I want us to have like an emotional, connection and physical affection, and it's not just about sex with me. I just want to be physically close with you. And so then she apologized for how she acted at the market when he first told her about his celibacy, and how she was, she reacted like very rude and very disrespectful, because to him this is part of his religious experience, and she completely basically poo-pooed all over it and tried to like diminish the importance of it. And she was just upset that she wasn't going to get her way. So while they're taking a walk and they're talking about it, she does apologize to him. He accepts her apology, and he tells us in his confessional that this is the first time that Renee has ever apologized to him about anything at all in their whole entire relationship. And then he promises her that he's going to be more affectionate. Okay, we'll see. So the next day, they go to a nature conservatory. She loves to be around the animals. And so, she's really happy to see all the animals and the monkeys and whatnot. So Renee asks him exactly how did he become blind. And so then he begins to explain how he became blind in one eye, and then eventually he became blind in the other eye. And she tells him that if he was not blind, she wouldn't even be with him. And so, what sold her on this relationship was the fact that he was visually impaired, because she's very self conscious about herself physically. And so, to be with someone who cannot see is like perfect for her, because she doesn't have to worry about her body or the way she looks. And this just sounds very self centered, that you're taking someone else's tragedy and trauma and you're working it for your own benefit. You're using it as your own benefit. She's very strange and weird, and I don't understand her. And so she thinks that him losing his sight was the universe bringing them together. Him losing his sight worked to her advantage, really, but she's going to play it off like it worked to their advantage because it brought them together, because of the fact that she doesn't like the way she looks and she wants to be with a man who can't see her. And he tells us in his confessional that it's very problematic when she talks like this, when she tells him that, how you losing your sight and becoming blind just really worked out in my favor. And so, we're able to be together. The universe brought us together and blah, 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 blah. He tells us in his confessional that it's very offensive to him that him losing something so precious, she sees it as a benefit for her. Okay, Chitty, you're explaining yourself, you're saying it. We don't have to say it for you. You understand that this is weird, this is strange, that someone is taking your tragedy and they see this as a beautiful thing for them. So we're expecting you to break up with her. Okay? Like yesterday. Moving on to Niles and Matilda. So Niles, he is packing up for his trip, And one of the things that he's going to be taking with him to Ghana is a necklace that he bought for Matilda. He tells us that he did not buy her a ring because he has no intentions of proposing, because he has no intentions of getting married this soon. Matilda doesn't know this yet. Matilda thinks that he is coming to Ghana to propose and for them to get married, etc. So Niles tells us again that he needs to have a conversation with Matilda about the fact that he wants to hold off on the wedding. Niles tells us that his family is not even supportive of his relationship with Matilda because they don't want him to be taken advantage of. So they must have seen or heard something about Matilda that was unsettling for them. And they're like, yeah, we don't support this mess, not one bit. So I'm thinking that's the reason why maybe we haven't seen his family yet. And, it bothers him. It hurts him that his family is not supporting him in this relationship because they would definitely be there to help him get himself together for his trip. But he's solo dolo on all of that because his family, they want no part of him and Matilda getting married or being in a relationship. So he gets to the airport. Everything is very overwhelming for him because of his autism. He is overly stimulated with the sights and the sounds. And so he has to soothe himself through stimming, which is like maybe doing whatever he needs to do to relax himself because everything is too much for him. And so he'll either talk to himself or he'll rub his face or his temples, whatever he needs to do to calm himself down. So we finally get to meet 23-year-old Matilda. She's in Ghana. She lives outside of Accra in a very, 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 very small town. Her family is struggling financially. They sell plantains at the market, but lately their business has not been doing well at all. And so we see them at the market selling their plantains, and she's talking to her. I'm assuming it was her brothers and her sister. I'm not sure, but she's talking to her relatives about Niles, and so they're asking her a whole bunch of questions, and she's telling them how he looks and how he is, and she also mentions to them that he is autistic. And her family doesn't really understand. And so she starts explaining what that means. And she tells us in her confessional that in Ghana, autism is seen as a curse. So that is going to be, I guess, very challenging for Niles when he arrives if the people there really don't understand, what he's going through. So then they talk about how, oh, and then we see her with her mother. So she's talking with her mother, and she's telling her mother about Niles arriving and how she's going to have to travel 6 hours away to Accra to meet him there. And they'll be staying in Accra for a few days together before they come back to her hometown. So her and her mom are having this conversation about Niles' arrival. And the mom tells her, yes, when he gets here, your uncles are going to start planning the wedding. We're going to start getting things together for the wedding. And then Matilda also talks about how it has always been a dream of hers to come to the United States because life is hard in her small town. And so she just can't wait to make her dreams come true and get to the United States. And she's going to do this via Niles. So it kind of comes off in a way that maybe, she's using him just to come to America. But we don't want to jump to that conclusion because we just met her and we haven't really seen the dynamic between the two of them. But Matilda is definitely in a rush to get married. She is in a serious rush, and Niles wants to take things really slow, and he ain't thinking about marrying nobody right now. So this is going to be very interesting to see how Matilda is going to react when Niles has to drop this bomb on her that he is not ready at all to get married. But it's coming across as if she may like him. Two things can be true, right? She can really, really like him, really dig him, really want to be with him, and also, be very motivated to get to the United States and understanding that Niles is her way to get there. So I don't know, y'all, but the jury is still out on Matilda. Moving on to Vea and Sunny. None of these couples irritate me more than Vea and Sunny. And it's all because of these games that Vea is playing. I don't really, like I said, I don't really believe that Vea and Sunny are a real couple because this stuff that they're trying to throw at us about her bringing her boyfriend with her her ex-boyfriend to South Africa when she meets her current boyfriend Sonny for the very first time. It's just so wacky and unbelievable to me. Like I don't know how to take it. So Vea and her ex-boyfriend Rory, they are on their way to South Africa. Now Vea tells us that she needs to have her ex-boyfriend with her because she has a lot of anxiety about traveling because she's never traveled international before. And so she needs her support, emotional support ex-boyfriend to be with her. I'm like, get a dog or something, or don't you have a best friend? Out of all the people in your life, Rory, the only person who could possibly accompany you to meet your boyfriend for the very first time is your ex boyfriend. And you think this is going to go over well with your current boyfriend. Like, I don't understand. I don't get it. If you couldn't go through, I don't know, therapy to get over your anxiety about flying, if you couldn't get a best friend or an emotional support animal, or a relative or whoever to help you. If none of these were possible for you, then why didn't you beforehand call Sonny and tell him, look, I'm scared to death of traveling by myself. My ex, Rory, is going to be accompanying me, but I promise you there's nothing going on between us. I know it's strange. I know this is crazy. I know it's very wackadoodle. But please understand there's nothing going on between us. He's in my past, but right now we are still friends. And he's the only one that can help me or that can accompany me on this trip to South Africa. Let him know beforehand. And if she was so worried about Sonny breaking up with her or not wanting her to come to South Africa, if you knew beforehand that her ex was coming with her, then maybe you need to rethink bringing your ex. But here we are. So she is expecting Sonny to propose to her on this trip. She's delusional, like in so many ways, in so many different ways. Her ex-boyfriend, they have a history. They were together for a couple of years. They even got pregnant, but unfortunately she lost the baby. So they have like a really deep history with one another. And I'm just thinking, how in the world do you think this is going to go over well with your current boyfriend Sonny when you show up with your ex-boyfriend who you have a very strong history with? And not only that, but her ex-boyfriend is still very protective of her because he even says, like if Sonny gets, if he gets out of pocket with Vea because he came along on the trip, he's gonna have to regulate. He's gonna have to step up to Sonny and put him back in his place. Like I don't think Sonny wants these kind of problems. But anyway, so um she's getting things ready. Oh no, we see Sonny in South Africa. He's at the hotel that they're going to be staying at, and he's getting things ready for Vea. He's got the flowers ready for her. He's putting rose petals all over the bed and whatnot. And so he's really excited about his woman coming into town. And he's just looking like kind of like Boo Boo the Fool because he has no idea what's about to happen. He has no idea about the bomb that Vea is about to drop on him when she tells him that her ex-boyfriend is there with her. Now, her plan is when she gets to the airport, her ex-boyfriend Rory is going to be hiding because she does not want Sonny to see Rory at the airport. So he's going to be hiding somewhere. And then at some point, she's going to tell Sonny that her ex-boyfriend came with her, and then hopefully she can introduce them to each other and they can all live happily ever after. That's what she's hoping for. I have nothing else to say about Sonny and Vea. Moving on to Brian and Ingrid. So Brian has been in Brazil for about 2 days now, and the relationship now has gotten really tense after Brian had explained to Ingrid how he had gotten shot and how the shooting led to him being paralyzed. So he had explained to her beforehand that he used to be a drug dealer and he was married at the time, and when he decided to give up that lifestyle and walk away from his marriage, his wife was like, no, you're not gonna leave me. So she had put a hit on him. And so he thought he was being carjacked one day, but it was actually people trying to kill him. And so they ended up shooting him, and that's how he became paralyzed. So when he told Ingrid this, Ingrid was shocked. And she was like, yeah, if I would have known all of this before, I don't think I would have continued the relationship with you. Because in Ingrid's mind, she thinks that he still wants to be a drug dealer, and the only thing preventing him from going back to that lifestyle is the fact that he's paralyzed. And that really offended Brian. He took very serious offense to that because I guess according to Brian, he worked really hard to leave that lifestyle, and and he worked really hard to put his life back together again. And so for her to just kind of dismiss what he went through and the awakening that he had arrived at, and him wanting to change his life for the better and wanting to be more positive. Instead of her giving him credit for that, she was like, oh, you probably would still be out there dealing drugs if it wasn't for the fact that you're paralyzed. So she like completely diminished the progress that he had made for himself. So he was offended by that. So they're out there, and before she leaves to go back to her hometown, because she's going to go home for, I guess, a little while and then go back and join him at the hotel. Very confusing. I don't know what's going on here. So she's going to be going back home to be with her son for a little bit. And then, okay, so before they leave to go back to her house, they stop to get ice cream. And he tells her straight up in the ice cream parlor, when you said that I still would have been dealing drugs, but for the fact that I'm paralyzed, that hurt my feelings. And so she apologized, and he accepted her apology. And he asks her, can I meet your son? And she tells him, well, it's too soon right now. She's still trying to process things. So, okay, fine, whatever. So he drops her off at her house, and then later on that night he shows up at her house unexpected, and he calls her and he tells her, I'm outside your house, which to me was a little bit um I don't know. I mean, if y'all already, I don't know. Anyway, so he's in front of her house now, and he calls her and he's like, hey, I'm outside. Can you come outside? So she comes outside. He surprises her with the flowers. And also he bought some toys for her little boy, and she liked it. She accepted the gifts and she was really happy, I guess. So she invites him in, and he meets her 2-year-old son. And, they all had a really good time together. And that was that. So I guess, things are getting better between them. And, they're going to probably just start all over again with their relationship and put the past behind them. I don't know, but Brian to me seems a bit like on the forceful side, like he's a little bit demanding, and um like when he wants things done his way, he's going to make it happen regardless of how the other person feels. I don't know, just something about Brian is a little like aggressive in a way. Yeah, I don't know, because I don't think it was her intention or her plan for him to come over that night, but he still showed up. I don't know, y'all. Maybe like misreading him. Let's move on to Adnan and Tiger Lily. So Adnan and Tiger Lily, they're having their wedding celebration. This is the wedding that Adnan and his family, I'm assuming, planned, and it was a huge, huge celebration. The wedding was big. He had flowers from Thailand. He had people hired just to look like statues with these gold masks over their face. The guests were in excess of 200. It was a big celebration, and everybody was dressed really nice, was really beautiful. It was put together so well. The decorations were so pretty. It was a really beautiful wedding on a huge, huge scale. So at some point they have to change into their second outfit. So they're in the hotel room, and Tiger Lily cannot change until Adnan changed, because she can't. I don't know. I don't know why he had to change. I don't know why they were changing in the same room to begin with. And I'm like, Adnan, you have the money to have a wedding celebration or a wedding party, where you invited over 200 people, and you're flying flowers in from Thailand and whatnot, and you hire people to look like statues. You have the money for all. Why couldn't you get a separate room to get changed in? I didn't understand why they were in the same room and she had to wait for him to get changed first, and he was just changing into a suit, but he had like about 6, 7, 8 people helping him get ready. And I'm like, why do you need so many hands on you to change into a suit? Why can't you take your suit and go change in the bathroom and let her change in the bedroom? Because her getting changed took a whole lot more work. She had to change from one extravagant dress, which was her wedding gown, to a whole nother extravagant dress, which was like another wedding gown, with a gazillion buttons and fasteners and hooks and all kinds of things going on. And then she had to get her makeup redone, and she had to get her hair redone. Her getting ready was like a huge production. So why couldn't she get ready first? Or y'all get ready at the same time, but you go in the bathroom, or go have another room for both of y'all to get. Like, I didn't understand that at all. I didn't get it. The wedding looked like it cost like $50,000 or something, but y'all are sharing a room to get ready, and one has to wait for the other. It was very, very silly. So at the celebration, at the actual party itself. Everybody's having a good time, so on and so forth. And one of Tiger Lily's friends mentioned that this celebration really seems to be like honoring Adnan and not Adnan and Tiger Lily. It was like, everybody was showering so much attention on Adnan, and it seemed like this party was more for him than it was for them together. And which is kind of jarring, because, in most places, the bride is the center of attention. But in this situation, Adnan was the center of attention. So that was really, really, really interesting. But that's all that was with Adnan and Tiger Lily. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video. If you like this content, subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.